Good afternoon or good evening, everybody. I'm Chuck, and that's Drew right there. Right there, that's Drew.
I'm over
And
here.
this is this is our first episode of Gearheads and Guardians, where we talk about racing, firearms, and our troops, our veterans, and the issues that we face. So
Every day.
we'll go ahead and we'll start every day. Every day. I'll go ahead and we'll start asking Drew a few questions. That way, everybody can get kind of acquainted with Drew, and then he's going to ask me some questions, so everybody else gets acquainted with that. And then we'll get into some of our the veteran charity that we support that actually Drew started, and we'll go and get started with that. So, Drew, I want to ask, man. I know you're a super trooper. You've been my best friend for God. How long has it been now? Since
Almost 20
'90 what?
years, guy. Well, 2000.
Yeah, so we
2000.
were
Dude, that's
stationed together in
23 years,
Korea.
man. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
And here we
So,
are. We're doing
so
something. We're doing something like this. I mean, this should be illegal.
well, I know there's a lot of things we did in Korea that were probably illegal too, but we ain't gonna go there. Anyway,
Leave that be.
we're not. I'm not gonna talk about any of that. I don't want to incriminate myself.
Not
Anyway,
at all.
I'll end up in the clink. But so tell us a little bit about your military career, man.
Oh man, 1996. I was in the delayed entry program. I got out of high school, and June of '96, I I bid farewell to my parents. It was time to get out of the house, and so Fort Jackson, South Carolina, basic training. Then I went to Fort Gordon AIT, where the IT world started for me. I really wanted to be an MP. To be honest with you, I was always fascinated with law enforcement and everything. And when I went to the recruiter's office, they said, "No, we ain't got no slots. You're going to be commo." After I took my ASVAB, and I said, I don't want to be commo. Like, I don't want to run around the radio. And luckily, back in those days, they didn't really tell you what it was all about until you watch that little
Right.
video. I'm sure you watched that video of the MSC equipment that they had out at the time. So ended up going to Korea the first time, and came back to Fort Hood. And after knee surgery, I went back to Korea the second time. That's where you and I got together, and those were my only two duty stations actively until 9/11 hit. And then after 9/11, I saw myself in Germany, and then followed you. It's crazy. I think I told you one time that as we were sitting there in the company, they have the photos. You know how they have the photos of people of the past
Right.
or whatever, and I'm like, holy crap. I'm in the same country as this is crazy. And it's almost like it is weird how we always follow some people
Right.
in the signal world. And so once I left, I came back to Fort Huachuca, and then um, had some family issues where there's some issues going on, and we ended up back at Fort Hood in the 1st Cavalry Division, and then Iraq set off, and after Iraq, I ended up at Fort Warren again. That place seemed to be like a vacuum, and then
Yeah.
I
That's where
came
we
back
saw
over.
each other again there, right?
Yeah, and well, we did,
You
and
remember that? Remember I was
man,
sitting in the hallway?
yeah,
And I looked up like, holy cow.
hey, how does this happen? Um,
Right.
and then after that, I got my daughter-in-law, my ex-daughter-in-law. Um, she was deaf, and the military didn't have a cochlear program, for the deaf people. So we came back here to Fort Sam here in San Antonio, and I got out. My back, after some injuries in Iraq, I was taking a PT test, and I was obviously, I was big into bodybuilding, and I couldn't take a PT test. My back was all jacked up, and they said, "Yeah, you got problems, man." And so I got out, and I've been out ever since, and living the contractor life. And it's kind of like you, man. I mean, we kind of followed each other, because I know that after you got out, you came to San Antonio, and we ended up working on the same contract together. Because you
Right.
started in Illinois. Where
Say
did
what?
you where did you join the military at?
Oh, up right there in Chicago, right there in Illinois,
Yeah,
right
I
by
mean, so
Michael Jordan's house.
I mean, so how was it? I mean, you came in earlier than I did.
Yeah, I went in '94. I
So
went
so
in '94.
what was your process like? Like how did you end up? Like how what was your line of tour from when you enlisted? How did that happen?
Oh, okay. Well, in '94, like I said, in '94, I went in, and December 1st was my first day, and I went to good old relaxing Jackson, and I was not expecting what I got when I got there, And everybody can talk trash about, oh, it's relaxing Jackson. I don't give a damn what you say.
Mm-mm.
It scared the hell out
Mm-hmm.
of me, man.
There was nothing relaxing
I
about
wasn't, I wasn't,
Jackson.
I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready for somebody to be bouncing that brown round off my nose. And
Mm-mm.
because that was back then, they couldn't do wall to wall counseling, but they could definitely put you in your place without somebody
Mm-hmm.
knowing about it. You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
I wouldn't know anything about that being a non-commissioned officer.
Sometimes it had
Anyway,
to happen.
sometimes. But then I left, went from Fort Jackson, went to Fort Gordon to the signal school, and then from there, let's see, was Germany to Mannheim. That's where you saw my picture in there at Charlie 44th.
Mm-hmm.
And then from Mannheim, I went to back to Fort Gordon. Then from Fort Gordon, I went to Korea, and then from Korea, I went to Fort Stewart, and then from Fort Stewart, that was when after I came back from the desert, and I was ready to say the hell with it. I was done. It did. It took a toll on my family life. It took a toll.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
and like a lot of other veterans, they walk down that same path too, and unfortunately, some relationships just don't make it through.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it happens, you know what I mean, and so what? Doom on me, whatever. But I left there. I decided I was going to get out. I didn't want to stay in the military no more, and I went to get my bulldog stamp, at Fort Stewart, and of course, the last guy you got to talk to get that bulldog stamp is the division retention NCO.
Oh yeah,
He
yeah.
talked me,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So he talked me into staying in, and I went to God. What was that? It was a smoke company, chem company on Fort Stewart. It was a reserve company, and
That's
I
right. You
went in
did
there.
NBC.
Yeah, and I did that for almost a year, and coming from active duty, and I'm not bad mouthing the reserve guys, so don't think that, but it's a different world,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and I didn't like it.
Right.
I didn't like it. I was too, you know, this is what the AR says. The FM states this, this to that, it's by the book. That's how I was brought up through the ranks. I
Mm-hmm.
had great leadership. I had, Sergeant Bishop. You even sponsored me for my promotion board in Korea.
Yeah.
And and I had, Sergeant Peliquin, Sergeant Holloway, Sergeant I think you remember Sergeant Hines from Korea.
Sergeant Hines. Yeah,
Yeah,
I remember Sergeant Hines.
she was my NCO at Fort Gordon,
Oh, wow.
and yeah, she was my platoon sergeant for a while. So
Wow.
I had some great leadership, and they were and I had some bad leadership. Don't I'm not going to act like everybody was great, because I had some bad leadership, and I
Sure.
learned from everybody. Whether it was learning how not to be or how to be the correct way.
Sure.
And
Mm-hmm.
I had some great NCOs, and they taught me a lot, and it helped me. It helped me when I got to the reserves. It helped me a lot because, um, I mean, and you know how I am. I'm a hothead, and I'm not going to deny that.
Mm-hmm.
I can control it. That's the good thing. but I got a temper, and when I see a full bird colonel, and I'm off, maybe 20, 30 yards back, and I'm watching, and I see this full bird walk up to the front of the company, and there's two privates sitting on the steps, and I see him go, "What's up?" Didn't even get up,
Yeah.
didn't salute the man, nothing, brother. I came unglued. I
Sure.
mean, I lost my mind.
Yeah.
You
It
know,
is.
I
It
went.
is a
I mean,
different world.
in a sprint, I sprint. I was like, "Wow!" You know, I was started screaming, and the commander, bless his heart, he's a great guy. I'm sure he's retired by now, but he even said, "He's like, you must be that new guy," and I was like, "Yes, sir, I am." And I said, "This is not going to happen in this company ever again." And he said, "Whoa, whoa, whoa!" And I said, "No, just because this is a reserve unit, don't mean we don't go
Hmm.
by the Army rules, customs and courtesies. Everything is the same." And
Hmm.
when I got there, and there was probably four other NCOs that were prior service that came in about the same time. That company really turned around a lot, and I was really, 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 really sad to see it get disbanded. I was really sad because it was a medical company, but
Sure.
it was a good group of guys, and it was really sad to see it get disbanded. But I
You
think
know.
they
You know.
disbanded in, was it 2010? I think it was 10,
I think
2010
somewhere around there you had told me that. It's funny that you say that. We were signal, and I was signal the whole time, but you went dental. How what was the what was I mean, why did you go from an IT background to a dental background?
Well, it's funny you ask. um, as you can tell, I'm not your spring chicken. Okay,
Sure,
and
35 looks great.
I plus a few. Yeah. Anyway, uh, no, I had back before I met you in Korea. I had a pretty bad car accident coming in the back gate right off of what was that road? It's
Jones
not
Mont.
Peach Orchard. It's not Peach Orchard because Tobacco and Peach Orchard are they T-bone like this.
Yeah.
But then there's that fire station, and then you go
Yep.
right around that. There's that road right there. I was sitting at that intersection. I had a Chevy Beretta, and this guy come up flying behind me in a Mercury Grand Marquis, doing about 60 mile an hour, from what the law dog told me, police officer.
Hmm.
But he never even put the brakes on. He just plowed
Wow.
in and he smashed up my car. Yeah, I was like three cars plus me out in the middle of the intersection, so I had a pretty bad back injury, and I just went and had X-rays today for it again. But I was just having problems with my leg because I got hurt in Germany and tore my back up again in the desert. So it's like reoccurring injuries and other injuries. And it's just like I had a hard time putting up a 30-meter mast. It would, most teams it would take, 30 minutes max.
Yeah, if that. Hmm.
You know what I mean? Putting up a 30
Hmm.
meter, and I was more of a hindrance to the team than doing good. So
Sure.
instead of being a d bag, I took myself out of that environment and put myself into somewhere else that would work. So I went into the dental field, and another one of my best friends, Chuck McNabb, he's a Army Ranger,
Hmm.
and he's been out. He's been out now for shoot. He got out. He got out shortly after I came back, I think. So I'd say maybe 2004, 2005, maybe somewhere in that area. But anyway, um, he got me a job in a dental lab, and because he got hurt um, in a training mission. He got hurt,
Sure.
messed his back up, and blew his leg out, and he got hurt pretty bad. So he had to reclass, and that was
Hmm.
really hard for him. And he went dental, and he's the one that convinced me. He said, "Man, you ought to just go dental. You already know all this stuff."
Right.
So that's what I did. I went into dental assisting and dental lab tech, where I made dentures, flippers, and all kinds of stuff. And then plus I would sit chairside with the dentist and help him pull teeth and dentures, whatever. You know,
Nice.
that's how I
It's
went into
crazy.
that. And I
It's
did finish top of my class too, by the way.
well, but and one of the things that I always found interesting was, back in the day, we OJT'd. Everything was OJT heavy,
Everything.
right? Everything was OJT heavy. Um, and really you didn't learn until you got to your units. So seeing you go from a tactical mission set or mindset, like the comms we were, to dental. I mean,
Mhm.
I always the pace obviously is a lot different, right? And the
Yeah
learning
and
curve
no.
is a lot
Yeah and no.
different. Yeah. Well, I mean, because you're shoving, troops through. Obviously, you can't. But I mean, you go from an environment where you only have a few minutes to get something set up. Technical comm people, they always say you can talk about us, but you can't talk without us. And a lot of people, sometimes when I say it, they're like, what does that mean? Well, where we come from in the technical comms world, you only had a short amount of time to erect an antenna, park trucks, erect an antenna, and then orient an antenna and get a shot in where they can make a phone call in a matter of
Shoot, move,
like
and communicate.
shooting
Exactly.
communicate, right?
Exactly.
But in the
But here's
dental
the thing:
world,
what people don't realize though, that tactical communications, right? We're not just setting up. Oh, here's a radio and it works.
yeah,
No,
no,
there's a whole network of
yeah,
other equipment that has to be. Everything has to be linked, and all that has to be linked in a matter of
minutes,
less than an
yeah,
hour,
minutes,
less than an hour.
yes.
You
So
have an
you go,
entire network.
and you take that environment, which unfortunately it's kept me in the world that I am today, but you go from that kind of environment to a dental chair, and not and not in a negative way, but was it, did you enjoy it more, or was it kind of like how some of us guys feel, where when we're away from, when we get out and we're away from the troops, and sometimes even when we get out, the troops call us and be like, hey Sarge, what do we do with this new guy? I mean, and here I've got long hair and I'm getting asked questions from the guys back in the platoon. They're calling me up going, dude, how do we deal with this guy? What, I mean, going from a tactical comm situation to where you can sit down and you actually have to learn tedious work, where we're throwing equipment up out here, but here you got tools and you got to be very tedious. I mean, it's kind of like
Right.
tattooing, when we do our tattooing. But was it a hard transition, or was it something you really actually embraced due to the
Um,
fact that it was physically why you had to do it?
I would say, okay. I'll put it like this: mentally, okay. I had to accept it. With the my physical capabilities because of my injuries, I had to. I had no choice.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing about it is most people would think, oh well, it's dental. You just you go to a clinic and no, that's wrong. In a
Sure.
combat situation, we do way more than
Yeah.
clean teeth, yank some teeth, slap some gauze in there, put some dentures or whatever. We do way more than that. Okay.
Right.
Um, and I'm not sure if you're aware of it, but there's a part of the unit that I was in. Now, the unit I was in Savannah, Georgia, was right outside of Hunter Army Airfield, and Hunter Army Airfield is the home of the Rangers,
Mm-hmm.
75th. Okay, I believe it's 75th, isn't it? The 75th Battalion
Man, it's been so long. I think
or
it
the
sounds about
75th
right.
Ranger
Yeah.
Regiment. I think it's the 75th Ranger Regiment.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Ranger guys, I apologize. But anyway, he was with Bat, and that's where my unit was right outside of there, which
Mm-hmm.
was super cool because I got to meet some of the coolest guys I've ever met. But we had a section of our basically of our company, a section that was called Six Forward, and what that is you would have one dentist, an assistant, and a driver.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll say there's a tanker out there, and I don't know, something happened and he cracked a tooth. He and his face is all swelled up. We'll go out there, set up a GP small, put up sanitation, a dental chair, everything in this little GP small. Yank his tooth, get him back to soldier ready, and let him rock and roll. And then we pack up and we haul ass out of there.
So you guys are actually
And we go
a,
in the
a
front line.
mobile detachment. Like you guys, no one came to you. Unlike, okay, so you were like a combat dentist, kind of like the medics do it. They roll out.
Exactly.
Man, that's
Exactly the
interesting.
same thing.
I never knew that about you. I never knew you went down that road. That's crazy. In
Yeah,
fact,
it's pretty cool.
before we go any further, I do want to say, if there's anybody listening, go ahead and subscribe to the video. This is our first one. Um, we there is a reason why we're doing this, by the way. And Chuck, if I don't know if you want to go ahead and talk about why we're doing the channel, but anybody that's listening, obviously this is new. There's probably not very many people, but as we get subscribers, please like and subscribe. If you do subscribe and become a member, all the money does go to our two charities, Gunner's Choice and Relief for Troops. So I wanted to throw that plug out there for that.
Right on. Yeah, I'll go ahead and we'll go ahead and explain what the whole channel's about. Okay. First off, again, I'm Chuck, and that's Drew. Can't see, but that's Drew over there. Okay. He actually owns a company called HMS, which is Hessler Motorsports. He has a late model, super late model, I should say, that he rates a dirt track car, and this thing is like super insane. So if you're into racing and you love dirt track, or even if you love NASCAR, because I mean that's kind of like where NASCAR got its voice and its life from, is from moonshiners running liquor, and that's where dirt track racing got its life from. So it kind of works, what's the word I'm looking for? Conjunction.
Conjunction. Hand in hand.
So that's it right there. So that's one of the big reasons we wanted to do it. Also, Drew does a charity, a veterans charity, and I try to help him out as much as I can. Every chance I get, I try to help out as much as I can, because I mean those are people that I care about. Being a non-commissioned officer in the Army, it's you get attached to soldiers. You train soldiers. You eat with them every day. You shower. Everything you do, you live together every day. And eventually they get to be like brothers and sisters, and little brothers and big brothers and all that. So the charity, to me, it really does mean a lot to me, because troops coming back from deployments, or troops that might have gotten hurt, in a training accident, they can use this product that he's selling. They can use that product to battle all kinds of different ailments, and it works, and it's natural. 100%. He's living. 100%. That guy right there, leukemia. He uses that product, and it's keeping him alive today with leukemia. And how long have you had leukemia?
I was diagnosed in 2013. And it was really
10 years ago.
2013. Yeah, I was diagnosed, and I've been off chemo since 2019. I took myself off chemo. No, 2020. I took myself off chemo.
How cool is that? So it works. It's real. It works. It's real. It's not illegal, and it's good for you.
Yeah, it really is. And Chuck, Gunner's Choice. Being from the North, Midwest, both of us were Midwest boys, and up there it's farming and hunting. And Chuck has worked in archery shops and gun shops, and he's probably one of your biggest advocates for the Second Amendment. He's one of your biggest advocates of proper shooting, not only how to shoot properly, but having the right gear for it. So Gunner's Choice was something that he started up. I'm an avid customer. In fact, I just excuse me, I hit my microphone here. I just got the Strikeman, which is something that we you're becoming a dealer for. You just become a dealer for the Strikeman. So if you need, and it's not just Glock, and Chuck, I know Glock has been. I was a big SIG fan, even though I never owned them, but I always loved the old SIG, especially the SIG Pro, the 326 with the TAC, that they were trying to get the military to carry, But Gunner's Choice, if anybody out there wants to help a veteran-owned business, it is Gunner's Choice. Number two, a lot of the stuff that you sell doesn't just go back to you. You actually donate it out to other charities. You want to take those funds and help other charities like you've helped Absolutely. Us. So if you need a weapon, and through our tenure doing this podcast every Wednesday night at 7:00, we're gonna hit on a lot of things that is not. I want to say, Chuck, and tell me if I'm wrong. I just bought my first weapon. What last year, right? Or
Mhm.
not even really last year. Like in the beginning of the summer, because I never owned a weapon, which is a lot of people think I'm kind of crazy to take so long because I'm paramilitary. They always say it all the time. Aren't you used to shooting guns? Well, man, you signal, man. I mean, we're not infantry. It's a little bit different, but no.
Right.
So, gunner's choice. I really do want to know. I know you and I have talked about it, but you've actually been doing this a long time. You've actually spent a couple years doing this before you actually did a website or what have you not. Am I not right?
Yeah. 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 Well, and a lot of it too stems from, I go like again, like you said, my upbringing. My dad, my dad, my dad, he was brought up at a time when, um, if you didn't have money, okay, to put
Mm-hmm.
food on the table,
Mm-hmm.
you took your happy tail out to the woods and you killed something and you brought it home and you cleaned it and you ate it. You know what I
Right.
mean? So my dad kind of instilled that mentality in me too. He taught me how to grow my own food, taught me how to hunt, taught me how to maintain my own firearms. And then after I started getting into the firearms, like some old school shotguns and like the old school Frenchies with the chrome lined barrels and
Mm-hmm.
what was that old shotgun I used to have? I had to retire it. A Hercules made by Montgomery Ward. It was like 1912 is what the stamp on it said, 1912, and I used that shotgun all the way up
Wow.
until God, just before I joined the army in '94. I had
Wow.
to retire it. Yeah, but I've looked, and then on top of that, all that I started getting into archery, and like you said, I worked in Augusta when I was stationed there. There used to
Mm-hmm.
be a shop there called Sportsman's Link, and
I
the
remember
the
you. I
owner
remember
there,
you being there. Mm-hmm.
yeah, the owner there, his name was Sohail, super nice guy. I mean, the guy bent over backwards to help me out, you know, just because he's a damn good guy. But he taught me a lot too. He taught me a lot about archery stuff that I didn't know because I was self taught, you know,
Right.
and I learned. I taught myself a lot, a lot of reading, a lot of hands on, a lot of mistakes, and learning from them. And then he taught me a bunch, so that was awesome. And then he's the one that got me into handguns, a lot into handguns because I was always into long guns.
Mm-hmm.
And he got me into handguns, and I just started doing a lot of research and I've been into handguns for years, but when I got out of the army, I ended up getting into the bunch of the Kimber stuff, like the 1911s, and still doing more research, and I started reading more, and I just started really leaning towards the Glock pistols. And there's a whole lot of reasons, and we don't have that kind of time,
Right. Right.
but
Yeah.
even in the army back, let's see, that'd have been 96. I think, yeah, 1996. They sent me to Vilseck, Germany, and I went to armor school. And my instructor was a SF guy,
Oh wow.
super awesome dude, man. Yes, he's the
Yeah.
one that convinced me to try to go SF,
Right.
and I almost made it, but then I got hurt again.
Ah, man,
So
injuries. Injuries are so imperative when you want to do extra
yeah,
stuff outside your MOS for sure.
exactly. But
Mm-hmm.
that's kind of where we got into the gun thing, and I want to let people know I don't do just Glock parts. 99% of
Right.
the parts that I do sell are mostly Glock. I do some SIG stuff and I do some H&K stuff. And I actually just started doing some stippling too, and I have to say I'm pretty good at it.
you know, and you showed me that picture of what you were doing with that to the grip on that. Was that your 40 or your 45? What was that on?
Oh no, that was I got it. Where did I put it? No, actually that was something that I bought to practice on. Actually,
Oh, oh,
let me
oh,
look.
yeah, that was actually pretty cool. I mean, if you have a grip problem, especially like grip strength and what have you not, stippling might be
Right.
something on your grips you might you know think about. But so and you do, and I own a Glock and so does my girlfriend. So, but a lot of people. um, when you pick guns, there's so many out there, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I something about the Glock pulled me away from the Sig, and I don't know, I don't know exactly what it was, but I'm pretty sure you can tell me because I don't know, but there's just some about. Of course, I don't have a small Glock for just because I don't
No,
feel the need to have anything, smaller than what I have. Um, but you know why mainly Glock? What is your take on the Glock that makes it
and
to
I'll be
you what
honest.
it is?
I'll be 100% honest with you. Okay, I shoot good with it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. And I'm going to tell you, but I'm going to tell you why I think that is because, like I said, I've shot Kimbers, you know, the 1911 platforms. I
Mm-hmm.
love them. Don't get me wrong. If I had the money to go out and buy more, I would. Okay,
Excuse
but
me.
for me, the 1911 is fun to go to the range with. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the Glock, for one, there's more parts available. All kinds of
Sure.
custom parts for Glock. Okay. Um, they're easy to work on. To me, they're like probably the most dependable pistol on the market. Okay.
Right.
I mean, now don't get me wrong. They double feed sometimes. You'll get some squib every once in a while. Oh, excuse me, but that's more your ammo. Um, but you'll have problems. I mean, nothing hand or man made is not going to have problems. It's
Right.
impossible.
Right.
Eventually, it's going to have problems. But for me, I think like going from the 1911 to the Glock was more ergonomics.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because if you look at when you pick up that 1911 and you grip it, okay, and you look, okay, like the top of your hands, like right here, right. Let's see if I can get my
Right.
camera. Here's the top of my hand, right. Okay, now the gun barrel on a Glock is about right here. Okay, even closer, probably about right in here. On a
Right.
1911, it's higher. So for me, and I don't know if it's like a mental thing for me or what it is. I just know
Mm-hmm.
that it works because if I pick it up and I draw, it's almost like no matter I don't even just I can just point, look at something, and it's almost every time on that target every time.
Sure.
You know,
Sure.
so for me, I think it's more of an economic thing or ergonomic thing for
Ergonomic.
me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, that in holsters, there's way more holsters available for them.
Man,
I know
there
we had
are
that
a.
conversation.
Ooh, I think for my Glock um obviously it's kind of far right when you start talking about getting this thing to fit in a holster, but we we, we talked a long time about what holster this and what holster that, and you actually talked me into the thigh holster. I had one when I was in Iraq because we had Berettas.
Yeah,
We had Berettas when we were in Iraq, and I also had a laser on mine, which was pretty cool because just in case. The red dot laser was pretty dope, but it's funny how um, you see when you search holsters for handguns. Glock is a Glock and the 9 mil, the 38, the 40, and the 45 come up real quick. Like and that's the same way with the SIG, the P36, the 226. Those come up really really quick. But then when you start looking for your larger caliber, weapons, it starts trickling down a little bit, right? And
right.
and so you actually helped me find the holster that was right for me because I got long arms. I'm just shy of 6 feet tall, but I have a 75-inch wingspan. I mean, I'm like an orangutan. And the whole hip thing don't work for me, especially when you're carrying around a 10-pound weapon. The whole
Then you
hip,
got to like turn your
yeah,
body
you
like
got to
this to get
lean.
to your weapon. Right.
Right. So I found the comfortability, and you hit on it, which is I'm glad you said that about comfortability, being comfortable. The thigh holster, which not all the way down the thigh, but the mid thigh holster by Alienware is what I find to be exactly where I need to be, and it actually makes me feel like I'm back in those tac op times where you know. The other holster I had for the Beretta was on the thigh, and it worked. It was right there. you
So
know,
it's
and
more familiar for you, right?
so it's familiar for me. So you actually hit on it when in about, you know, it's a comfortable weapon. I, I don't know if this is the same for you, but the grip on a SIG is a little bit different. It's a little more bulky. It's a little more. It's got a little more round to it. And
Mm-hmm.
after holding the SIG and holding the Glock, the Glock is a little bit more comfortable to hold. You know, um, so that's, you know, that I'm glad you hit on that. That's yeah, I think that's important for people to think about, because I'm sure you get questions all the time. Why a Glock? Why is everything a Glock? You know, rock with your Glock out.
I
You
get
know,
it every day.
why Glock
I
Glock
get it
Glock?
every day.
And when you tell them it's because that's the weapon I shoot better with, it almost takes out the preferability because you like something, right? You know,
Right.
a Desert
Right.
Eagle 50 cal looks amazing, but holy cow, you got to use two hands and a tripod to carry the thing.
Can you shoot it?
Correct. You know, and
That's
it's
the thing.
funny. It was funny when I stumbled across the 50 cal rail for the Glock 20,
The 20, right?
bro. I was like, yes. And what did you tell me? What did you tell me when I said, dude, I want it, find it? And you, what did you say? Why?
I don't remember what I said. Oh yeah,
No, you said
why?
why?
I go, why do you want
Why?
that?
I said, because I got big
Because I
hands.
want to be able to shoot my neighbor across the parking lot, through the refrigerator, through the back door, and in the garage by the beer keg.
Exactly.
That's why I want a 50 cal.
There's
All
something
right,
about
cool. Let's build it.
there's something about collateral damage, right? No, in all seriousness, it really is a comfortability thing, you know. And having big hands, you can't. You know, my girlfriend has a 43 9 mil. That's small gun. It's a very, very small gun. I can fit it in the palm of my hand. But that's a big round. That 9 mil is actually a big round for that weapon. So it's almost the perfect concealed carry for a woman in a purse or what have you. Not the 43 is. It's like a
Absolutely.
perfect,
Absolutely.
you know, perfect. So
Absolutely.
yeah, I was always
And I
wondering why
like that.
Glock
I
the
like
most.
that weapon too, because the recoil's not like overbearing either. You know what I mean?
No, no, it's not. You're absolutely right.
And I know a lot of Glock Glock pistols, and I wish there was some like concrete data, you know, like
Mhm.
some actual data that you could actually look at, kind of like when you look at a ballistics chart. You know what I mean?
Right.
But look at like how much force and how much, you know, pressure from gun to gun to gun to gun to gun as far as
Mhm.
recoil and
Mhm.
ammunition around, you know, all that stuff. But it seems to me, and again, it's just like trial and error, learning from my mistakes, kind of thing. But it seems to me like the Glock, for the most part, is not as snappy. For now, and I'm not saying all Glock pistols, but for the
Mhm.
majority of them, they're not
Mhm.
as snippy as strong of recoil as their counterparts. So
Oh, that yeah, it is.
that's
You know, I
another.
noticed that too. I mean, the 20 the 10 mils. It's a heavy. It's heavy. And I will tell you that after, you know, punching 100 rounds downrange, I find myself, and I think a lot of it has to do with the arthritis in my hands. Um,
Sure.
and you have to sit it down. But the recoil is really not. It's not that bad. It's a lot more than your average, you know. But it's really not all that bad. And I shoot a 180 grain, you know, ball.
10 mil.
And yeah, and I want to say that my self defense rounds are 200 grain. Um, so, but
Right.
it's not really. But the recoil is not so much where I think it's just me not working. I need to work more, you know, to work through the arthritis and pain to hold it longer. But
That's just range time, brother.
it's
Range
that's
time.
just range time. Yeah, you
But
know.
I
So
will say this though. Just a word of the wise. Um, if you're shooting like your home defense rounds are 200,
mhm,
your range rounds should be 200 too. They should be very compatible. That way, when you're shooting, they're more familiar. You know
mhm.
how that gun's going to act every time with that same type of round. You're going to be familiar with it. Now, I'm not
Right.
telling you to go buy a box of 10 millimeter hollow points and send them down range at a target. I'm not telling you that. That's expensive as
Especially
hell.
financially.
Okay, Okay. I don't care. I don't care if you're Elon Musk. That's going to run you some money. but
That's
but
true.
definitely get it's comparable. That
Right.
way you're talking apples to apples. Because like even like when I go from a 19 to the 17, or I go from the one of them to my 45, or my Glock 21,
Hmm.
I always, well, I can't say the 21 because that's 45 caliber, but all my 9mm pistols I try to keep the same home defense rounds in it. I try to keep my range rounds are the same, and
Yeah.
they're all the same weights, and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
that way they're all, I can pick one up and they're all going to do the same thing. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Just about the same thing. You're of course they're going to be a little different because of barrel length and things like that, but um, they're still going to the ammunition is going to act the same. So it's not going to
Right.
be a guessing game. So I would
So
definitely look into that.
so Glock is really more for you is really more about uh um come the way you shoot. That's the viable
Yeah,
weapon for you.
it
Straight up.
works for me.
Right.
It worked for me. Now it might not work for Joe Snuffy next door, but it works for me. And
Right.
it's the same thing I always tell people about the gear they get. You know, I personally like an Olight. Now you go on Facebook and other social media, and they will tell you, Olight's junk. Olight's junk. It's all crap. It's no good. It's this. It's that.
Hmm.
Hey, you know what? It does exactly what I need it to do. So
Right.
it's, to me, it's great. Now I might not need that big 4x4 truck the neighbors got. And my little Ford F-150 works just fine for me. You
Right.
know, but there might
Right.
be a day I need that big truck. So it all depends. It all
Right.
depends. It all depends on the situation you're in. But like I said, for me, my Olight works great. My Spear Gold Dots work great for my ammunition. My Glock pistols work great. Of course, I doctor them up, but uh, whatever I do, they all work precisely well for me. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Now,
Sure.
you might not be able to pick it up because you might not like how my trigger feels, or I got a three and
Yeah.
a half pound trigger, and it'll scare you.
That's something that
It's not like one of those real long classic Glock triggers where you pull. Oh, there's the wall, bang, and then you keep on pulling, keep on pulling. Mine's like this, bang, 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 bang. It doesn't have any over travel, no pre travel. It's like right there. So
right, and that's something and that's something that one of the and I want to tell the viewers, if anybody's watching, that we are going to actually dig into some of these topics about uh, different things Glock wise. Now that especially if people have questions about like the new triggers, the different type of triggers that are similar to the OEM trigger that comes on a Glock, but you actually sell a little bit better of a trigger that I actually have both. I have one on each of our weapons, and it really makes it's very smooth. It actually helps. You don't need as much pressure to fire the weapon. So we definitely, that's one of the topics we are going to talk about in time.
right on, way cool. I want to talk more about racing too, so
Uh,
we need to get into that too. Definitely need
yeah,
to get into that.
so I do want to say this because I was having internet issues on my laptop and I'm on my phone. When my phone gets down to a certain percent, I'm actually going to switch over to my laptop. So if there's a lapse in me real quick, I just want, I'm just going to switch over to my laptop. But yeah, an expensive hobby. I'm gonna tell you right now, a Glock is a hell of a lot cheaper than race car parts. Let me go ahead and say that right
Depends.
now.
It
Let
depends.
me, let's not get everybody's hopes up, right? I'm gonna tell you that right now. Yeah.
Yeah. If I turned my camera over there, you'd see all these boxes, and that's about $5,000. That's just $5,000 worth of junk right there. There's a
Mm,
whole bunch of other stuff yet.
mm.
So
You know
yeah,
what, Chuck? Hold on. Before we get into that, I know this is our first episode, and this is probably so way unprofessional, but I'm gonna try to do this real quick. Um,
you bet.
hold on,
So while
hold
he's
on.
doing that, if anybody has questions, if anybody's even watching, I haven't even pulled up the channel. But if there's anybody watching, you can ask questions. Just type it in the chat. We should be able to get that. As a matter of fact, let's see if, and there's the live stream. Let's see if anybody's here. Okay. I'm listening to myself. Hey, there's one person watching. Me.
So, can you hear me?
I can.
All right, I've now got you on two devices. Boy, this is awkward.
Yeah, it is.
Hold on just a
So now your phone is your phone. Are you using your phone now or just a laptop?
Well, to be honest with you, I'm using both, and I don't know how it happened.
Because it's
Because I'm on my laptop over here, but you're coming sound through here. Hold on just a second.
there. I had to mute your phone mic. No, you're good. You can leave it on. I muted just so I could hear you through the other mic instead.
Okay, let me turn this thing off. Hold on.
You're green. Now, what kind of phone is that now?
So this is the
Whoa.
there we go.
Ta-da.
Now, how's that? Is that a lot better? Okay.
Yeah, we're
So
green.
this is
It even sounds way better too.
So good. Well, I was on my phone and it going through the headphone. Believe it or not, I hooked this whole system up into my phone. I love Galaxy. I
Way
mean,
cool.
it's really cool. Obviously the drivers are a little bit different, but this is the Galaxy Z Fold.
How about that?
And I was doing that first part of the podcast on that. So
how cool is that?
That's
well, just so y'all know, now we're
obviously-
not being
yeah,
sponsored by Samsung, and we're not promoting Samsung. But if they want to send us some free phones, we'll definitely promote them.
Oh, I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm all about some free merch, but
Right on.
So yeah, racing, yeah, that I mean,
Exhilarating. That's all I can say. Until you've actually been to one of these,
yeah,
I'm telling you
I
guys,
don't know.
until you've actually been to one of these races and watched these cars. I mean, it's one thing to watch cars on TV, but to actually be there, standing by that fence, and you can, I mean, you can feel the horsepower in the ground when these cars. You can, I mean, you can feel it when they go by, man. And then the smell of the racing fuel, and man, it's just like, woosah. That's my take on that, by the way. And I think Andrew froze. But oh, I think he's lagging. You might need to use the hotspot, brother. But what happened? We're lagging. All right, looks like we lost Tess. But what I want to say though, if you get a chance, and you really want to give to a charity, he has a charity and it's called Relief for Troops. Okay, and what it is, I don't want to get too much into it because I really want him to tell you everything because he's got every spec and detail that he wants that you need to know. But it's a wonderful charity. For every product sold, proceeds go to a veteran that needs that help. You know, and it God, and I have to say, and I get humbled when I think about the dedication and the time and everything he puts into this charity. You know, and it's like it's kind of a thankless thing that he does. You know, it's kind of unsung. You know, not a lot of pats on the back, not enough props. But I feel like anybody, not just a veteran, but anybody that wants to help another warrior, like a warrior helping another warrior. That to me, that's just what's the word I'm looking for? It humbles my heart. I'll just say that. But Drew, if you're with us, buddy, go ahead and tell us about that very super important and super awesome charity that you spearheaded.
Can you hear me now?
Green.
Okay. So I'm having some network issues over here. Don't worry, in a couple of weeks I'm gonna have that fixed. No, and I heard a little bit of what you said about the charity, and I really appreciate it. You know,
No,
um,
it's a great thing, man.
it's one thing uh, if you when you talk about charities and for veterans, if you have actually if you've been around the charity world and veterans, there's been a lot of scrutiny on certain veteran charities out there. Um, you know, the Wounded Warrior Project went through some things where things weren't right and what have you not. But the f- reason for us doing it, or the reason for me doing it is I was in a lot of pain with chemo. Chemo was it's brutal stuff. I didn't have to go through radiation, but it was kind of brutal stuff, and they don't prepare you for it. Fortunately, um, the mindset and the health was somewhat of I was a little bit healthier um, in the sense. So Mark O'Donnell, he's good friend of mine. We've known each other for years, and um, he and I sat down and said, I'd like to do something. I'd like to do a charity with the CBD stuff that I had been taking, and so we came up with Relief for Troops, and I said, this is what I want to do. The main vehicle for it is obviously through our racing program, um, and the you know it's easy to talk about, but it's hard to talk about because I don't like the I factor of this. I never have. In the world of racing, you know, um, a lot of people, stand back and say, we do it because we want to be in front of people, in front of fans, or what have you not. I grew up a little boy going to the races in Jackson, Minnesota, and I always wanted to be a race car driver just because it was something that I always wanted to do, you know. And when I finally got the ability to do it, it was for me. Um, and then we started being a little bit successful, and when I was diagnosed with leukemia, it it the vehicle for how we built the charity just evolved around racing. I didn't have anything else. I didn't have, we don't have any big sponsors. We don't have a lot of people that help out in a sense monetarily. And so I said, I tell you what, let's just do it. Um, we're ambassadors for the company's lease, and we take their CBD. I live on their CBD, and when I took myself off of chemo against my oncologist's, you know, um, not really instruction, but he kind of was like, "Okay, well, we're going to monitor this because I had 90 white blood cells in my bloodstream, and you're only supposed to have 5." And then after we got it controlled, and I started having all the pain, um, you kind of trying to find other alternatives to deal with the pain, um, and
Mm-hmm.
most everybody knows what that means. And obviously, I can't do that because of
Yeah.
my job today. So, I, you know, Mark introduced me to Zalise, and 3 years later, 6 years later, 3 years later, um, after I started on it, I took myself off chemo because my oncologist um, had done a little bit of science research on it and the way that CBD works with the mutant cells, any cancer cell. It's just leukemia is mutant cells inside your is mutant white blood
Right.
cells, right? But any type of cancer cell, um, they all have the same protein that chemo attaches
Right.
to, and that's how chemo fights. It attaches to the same protein, they found out. And there's an element inside CBD called CBG that is the actual element that attaches to that. And what it does is it blocks other cells from attaching and mutating. And I started feeling better.
So you're like an
I
X-Man.
Well, it's funny. Yeah, and to be honest with you, I was in jujitsu. I was training in jujitsu
X-Man.
before I became an instructor, and and then when I started getting on CBD, I started moving. The pain was kind
Mhm.
of going away. I was able to be flexible. I could get back in the gym. I was working out, and but the damage from the chemo had already set in with the joints and everything. So the
Right.
inflammation and everything went down, and fast forwarding to the charity, I said, "Man, I don't have any nightmares. I haven't had a nightmare since I've been on it. Um, I the PTSD thoughts, and everybody's different, but the thoughts that come with PTSD in its many forms. I was happy. I was happier. Let's say that I was happier.
Mhm.
I could deal with the pain. I wasn't having nightmares. I could sleep at night, and I started taking myself off all the VA medicines. And the only one that I was on it is chemo. And I finally said, you know what? I'm going to see what happens if I can actually get the body to actually feel better without it having to fight a side effect of something else. And to
Right.
this day, in fact, I just went to a checkup, and my levels are a little bit elevated, but they're not elevated to the point where I need to be back on chemo. And that could be allergies. It could be anything that stems the white blood cell count to
Sure.
grow.
Sure. It could be a flu bug too.
Correct. And so it's still controlled through the endocannabinoid system in the body through CBD. That and I am and I say as well, humility. I'm only one right now that we know of in the VA ward here in San Antonio that is cancer active without being on chemo. So we base a charity around that. We want to raise funds so that we can buy product and hold events, car shows, events, and things like that. Bring the race car out, set up our booth, and raise enough money where we can buy some product and just give it to veterans. Just you come by, first come first serve. It's on us. Go find a better way of life. Go help your situation that you're in, and it's not just cancer. It's any ailment. Um, so that's what was the basis behind Relief for Troops.
Amen. Amen. God bless you, man. I'm getting choked up. Man,
Well,
and I know I speak, and I know for a fact I speak for every other, veteran, active duty warrior that's out there. We thank you very much,
well,
very,
I
very much,
appreciate
man.
it.
And
It's
I'm trying not to my eye gaskets. I'm working at that, man.
huh, you
But I
know,
will say this too. I will say this too, brother. It's coming from the CBD standpoint. Um, been using CBD, not the same one, which I am going to start doing here very shortly. By the way,
yeah, we're
we
gonna
had
get you
we
some.
already talked about that, and but the CBD I'm using is not as pure as the stuff that you're using. The stuff you have is like top shelf stuff where I'm kind of not so great, but not bad, but not great, and
Well, yeah.
and the thing of it is, I know for a fact, and I'm living proof too. I know for a fact this works for pain. Okay.
Mhm.
In 2016, I had a motorcycle accident. I literally died twice, crushed my face. Still have a big dent in my forehead up here. And, my head was fractured. My skull was fractured. Let's see, I smashed my face, broke my nose. All my teeth shifted to one side. Now we're talking, microns, but it moved. You can, every time I chew, you can hear it
Hmm.
every time I chew something. But and I almost lost my right leg, and I literally died twice that night. They had to bring me back. So, and on
I
top of
remember that.
that, I yeah, you remember, um,
Hmm.
and I've had working in the oil field. I jacked up my shoulder. Had to have two surgeries putting that back. I've had like God, I can't even. Was it like 10, 12 surgeries, something like that, putting my leg together,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was working good, and all of a sudden here comes the arthritis back, even worse. And of course, then what they're telling me, oh well, gee, staff sergeant, now you got to go get a new knee. So
Right.
all that hardware, they had to take all that hardware back out. Put it. Long story short, my body's beat up. Okay,
Sure.
two things that are helping me get along right now: the good Lord above,
Mm-hmm.
family and friends. Okay, and then the big secret, CBD.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's keeping me. That's what's keeping me going. I'm not dead yet. I can't quit. Okay. So I got
Mm-hmm.
good family, great friends like that guy right over there. Okay. A wonderful family in the good Lord above. That's what's keeping me going. But CBD has made a huge difference. Huge difference. And, and I can't wait to start taking this new stuff, man. It's going to be so awesome. Because, like I said,
Yeah.
the CBD I'm taking now is not the greatest and it works pretty good.
Sure.
Uh, I can't wait to see what this is going to do, man. This is going to be like night and day.
Research is a big part of it.
Mm-hmm.
The cool thing about this is non-THC, right? And every time I go get my
Right.
blood drawn at the VA, I do a urinalysis, and they do a drug panel, and
Mm-hmm.
there's no THC in it. It's grown by the USDA, so
Mm-hmm.
it is regulated, and all the testing has been paid for by the company. They spent the millions and millions and millions of dollars to do it right, and when you do it that way, the amount of bioavailability that you actually ingest into your receptors is 94% or more of 1 milliliter dropper. So we did the research.
Wow.
um, we took the time, and I told Mark, I credit Mark O'Donnell. And by the way, go to his website, Mark O'Donnell Consulting. If you need any consulting, uh, for any services, what have you not, please contact him.
He's
Mark,
got a lot of stuff going on too. He's a great
it,
guy, and he's got a brain on him too. So pick his
yeah,
brain, yo.
yeah, I really, to be honest with you, I could not manage all the fires that he's got irons in. There's just no way. Better him than me. I'll wrench on the car, and we'll leave it at that. But I really credit Mark for introducing me to Zalise and what it's done for me. Um, and in the contractor world, right? I had to let my employer know. I'm gonna let you know right now. My health is more important than your policy. So we can either let this just be, or we can go ahead and talk about this. And they said, as long as it's non-THC, you're good to go. And I think that's the key. It's got such a stigma behind it that
You're right.
I
You're
first
absolutely
of
right.
all, um, you know, drugs are drugs, but there's a reason why the Egyptians discovered that your body has this in you. Your body has hemp in it. Um, and it's not a class 1 drug. Hemp is not it's not a drug. So when I was introduced to this, that was my biggest fear, but
Same,
I was
same.
teetering on the verge of pain and permission, and I just because until you go through some of these things, and I say with all humility, and I hope I can speak for others that can understand this. Um, Cancer is not a fun deal. No cancer is a fun deal, but there are remedies that a lot of people that have cancer might not be on board with, just because they haven't done the research, or
The
what
stigma.
the stigma behind it. But you've got to go back to ancient times, go way back, and it's been there for eons. And my personal opinion, that there's obviously a money loss to certain drug companies out there, because they don't do it. They much rather have you take this other pill that's got a bajillion side effects to it, not found in your body, because it's kind of like the quick fix in medicine is the quick paycheck. CBD is
Right.
not. You
Right.
actually have to let it work on your body, and you got to believe in the science, and you have to not have an expectation of, I'm hitting the easy button right now, it's all going to go away. No, it doesn't. It took
It's
me
not gonna
three and a
happen.
half weeks. to actually start noticing that my chronic pain was going away. But what I did know the first night that I was on it, I slept good and I didn't have a nightmare. That was it. Had nothing to do
That's a
with my
plus in
cancer.
itself. Shoot.
Right, correct. Nothing to do with any of my ailments. It was those were the two things that took effect right now. So
That's awesome, though, man.
yeah,
That's awesome.
and a backstory. I get asked a lot. I mean, and I appreciate people when I don't talk about it. I don't. People know about it because I had to announce it to my work when I found out that I had it, and then obviously, through the grapevine
Sure.
is fast. But um, I uh I didn't talk about it, and I found out I had a blood draw in December of 2012, and at the VA, and I was good. And then my annual came up in April. Excuse me. It came up in April, and I didn't go. I didn't go because I was busy. I don't like I didn't at the time. I wasn't big on doctor's appointments. It's how men are. We're just like, oh, good Lord, they're just going to tell us we're dying or we're not dying.
Get the
That's
next
it,
one. We'll get the next one.
Right. But that actually put my life in danger, and
Mhm.
I was really tired after that. Around the June-ish, April, May, June-ish,
Mhm.
I was like falling asleep driving. I could be up, sleep 12 hours. I get up 15 minutes later, I'm crashed out on the couch. And it actually, between me and my ex-wife, it actually called a big rift. She thought stuff was going on, and it wasn't that. But I didn't know what was going on. All I know is that I slept and I slept and I slept. And then I had to go to work,
Yeah.
and I worked the overnight shift. And so anyway, fast forward, um, the VA said you need to come to your annual, or you're going to lose you're going to lose coverage, because if you don't
Your
go for
benefits and
12
stuff.
months, that you lose coverage. So I went in, did my blood draw, and went to my appointment, and my PCM said, "Whoa, did you did you know that you had 90 blood cells in white blood cells in your bloodstream?" And I said, "I don't know what you're talking about. No one's called me." He says, "I need you to go over to the lab right now, and I need you to do another blood test like ASAP." So drove over, and they put it stat, like they were waiting for me when I got over there. Um, and they did the blood draw, and they took it over to the hematology right there, and they scanned it. They looked under, they ran it through their quick test for BCR ABL, and
Mhm.
they said, "You need to go see your PCM." And he went back, and they called him and said he's got a chronic myeloid leukemia. And my doctor, I went back there, and he says, "Here's what we're going to do. We're not going to worry about any of your other ailments. I'm going to get you on this chemo. I've already set you up for a biopsy that following Tuesday." Now, this was on a Thursday. I went racing Saturday night down in Corpus. Tired. Started, I don't know, mid-pack, finished second. Tired. Um, Told those few around us, Mike and them, just told them and say, "Hey, this is what's going on right now. So if I seem a little tired, I'm just going to need your help out tonight. Just this is what's going on. I just want to get in the car. We already came down here. We're going to go race." And we came home. That Tuesday, I went and had a biopsy, and the worst pain in the world. And then after that, they got me on the chemo, and they brought it down. Now, obviously, everything else compromised, but then I lived like that. Body started rejecting the first chemo, got on the second chemo, and it had a little bit more side effects pain wise with inflaming of,
Yeah.
of joints and stuff. And that's when um, Mark introduced me a few years after that, introduced me to the Zalees, and from that been on, that's been my story. That's where I'm at.
Well, God bless him. I'm glad he did.
So
I'm
yeah.
glad he did.
So one of the things that I wanted to ask you about was um, your time in the desert, right? We've really never talked, but there was a lot of time where we had a lot of separation between you and I because of you were stateside and I was in the desert, what have you not. Um,
Right. Right.
but you went to the desert because didn't we see each other at NTC in California?
No. No.
No, you had just no. I'm trying to. It's
No.
memory.
We before the desert, we met back up at Fort Gordon because I was there with my unit with 333rd, and
Hmm.
you were there. And the only reason I was at the hospital that day is because my unit, against Staff Sergeant Wires' better judgment, decided they were going to put our company area for our 2 week drill. Okay. You know, like when you come at Fort Gordon, you run
Hmm.
all the way down the track, you go right past signal towers, all that. You keep
Right.
on going, you keep on going. And then on the other side of that track, where it makes the bend and comes back, the big track, not the short one, but the big track. You
Right.
go across that road, there's a dip on the other side of that road. That floods every year. Every year it
Hmm.
floods.
It
I don't
does. Yeah.
care what you say. Okay. They said,
Yeah.
no, we're going to set up right there. I was like, you don't want to do that. Oh, yeah, we can do that. I said, you don't want to do that. Look, I was stationed there 3 times.
Right.
You don't want to do that. Oh, it'll be fine. It'll be fine. Sure enough, what happened? It rained. And what happened?
Yeah.
We had rainwater up to our taint, man. I'm telling you, it sucked. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to dig trenches to drain water, and I ended up getting jungle rot on my feet.
Hmm.
I'd take my socks off and just skin would peel off. I couldn't
Yeah.
even hardly walk. My feet were so raw. And I was in there getting my feet checked out. And then I just seen somebody walk by, you know, and I'm standing there with my soft cap off, obviously I'm in the building. So I got
Yeah.
my head down. I just kind of peek up because I heard boots, and I looked up. And I just seen E6 rank, and I go, "Hey, good afternoon, Sergeant." And then you turn around and look like, "Who the?"
I
I
remember
looked up
that.
like,
Yeah.
"Oh my god!" And we
Yeah.
hadn't
I
seen each
remember
other in
that.
like what 5 years?
It'd been a hot minute, man.
Yeah,
Hmm.
yeah. We had lost contact, and man, it was so good. I'm so glad we I was there that day because I don't know if we'd ever get back together again if I wouldn't have been there that day. Because we had
Yeah.
lost contact, and I know I tried to find you and couldn't. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah. Well, when
but
you go through, we've been through some bad situations, right, in our personal lives where it's everything always seems to just, take a
yep.
a split, but yeah, I remember that day. Um, and then who'd have thought that we'd be sitting here doing a podcast about, you know, multiple
Things that we love to
topics,
do.
things that we love to do, I mean, so, but yeah, man, you know, Sergeant Major Briscoe, as I drove for him, when I was in Iraq. Oh, Briscoe.
Love that guy. Love that
Yeah,
guy.
I don't know where he's at. And I wanted to,
Little
I think
cheese
this,
peepee.
would be this is going to be a good time to get First Sergeant Marr. He was my old First Sergeant for two
Mhm.
companies when we was in the First Cavalry Division, and I want to talk to see if we can't get him on uh, and
Oh, way
talk about
cool.
yeah, he's out in California now. He's done retired, and he's out in California.
Mhm.
And so, but yeah, one of the cool things about this podcast, over hopefully, as long as we can,
For as many years as
yeah,
years.
yeah, we're going to be able to, this is, tonight was kind of like an overview of such, and just get acquainted with the with things. But um, you know, military and our love for this country, especially with what's going on today. It's people have been entitled to, you know the amount of disrespect out there, even in the smallest form, is just nothing that I'd ever seen. This is just absolutely crazy,
Don't understand
and
it.
well, and
Why?
yeah, yeah, and um it took me, it's so crazy. I don't know about you. In fact, I think I called you the day that for the first time that I wore my sidearm, out in the open.
Yeah,
I was
I
it,
remember. I
it
remember
was
that.
weird. It was absolutely weird. One, it's not small, and you can't conceal this thing. But two, um, getting comfortable with people looking at you like you're not the enemy. You know what I mean? Or not being scared to be around it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
We did the peanut festival. Jennifer and I went down to the peanut festival here in Floresville. Um,
Mm-hmm.
lot of people, lot of people in the streets, and I was walking around with, on, and it just
The pig.
the pig, and it just, but the stigma, you can, it's almost like the air just got heavy, right, around where we were
Mm-hmm.
walking, because everybody that was walking towards me, they went here and then down to my sidearm, and then they kept going. Weirdest thing. And I was like, man, I didn't think it would be like this, but this is what today's society has come to. Is like, everybody's so afraid, to enact and engage in your rights, but they're not afraid to go ahead and bash them. They're not afraid
Right.
to
Well, see that's
you
the
know
thing. That's what I always try to tell people. And and me, and my personality. I can be the coolest guy you ever met, the nicest man you ever met, but at the drop of a hat, I can turn all those things at a 180 and be the worst SOB you ever met. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying I'm a tough guy. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I got a mouth on me. That's what I'm saying.
but yeah,
but
but you have to
but what I
sometimes.
always tell people is like, my rights don't stop where your feelings start.
Right.
It doesn't work
Yep.
like that.
Yeah. It
Okay.
doesn't.
Number one, I served my country for almost 20 years.
Mhm.
Okay. I think I've earned the right for that 10% discount at Home Depot. I've
Yeah.
deserved that right that I get at IHOP for some pancakes. Can I get a 10% discount for that? Is it really going to hurt somebody?
Yeah.
As a matter that
Yeah.
happened to me today. Talking about that, it happened to me today in San Antonio, of all places, in San Antonio.
Sure.
I asked the lady when she rang me up, I said, do I get a military discount? Oh, yes, I'm so sorry. And I heard the people behind me.
Yeah.
I said, hey, the recruiting office is right down the street. You can go sign up too.
Well, I think a
Boy,
lot
I
of it is.
shut their mouth real quick too.
Yeah. I think a lot of it is you know the, as big as the veteran support groups are, if you scatter it across this country, the support groups that
Mm-hmm.
that are for veterans, it does look very vast. I mean, it really is. But when you condense it down to the actual amount of people that get it, it's not that big. It really is not that big.
Absolutely not.
We ask because, and I tell all veterans, and hopefully, people that listen to this, in the future, and listen to us. um w- w- Being humble doesn't mean that you don't at least ask, because if a handicapped person, and I'm a disabled vet, but I don't ever use my placard, because my placard is for my F450, and I'm gonna tell you right now, that does not fit right up in a handicapped parking spot. It doesn't. So I rarely use it, but the VA gave it to me. But if you can uh, take a medical ailment that is or is not of your control and exploit it to get certain, benefits, handicap benefits, things, benefits,
Mhm.
you don't ever hear anybody saying, well, if you did this, you wouldn't be in this predicament, right? Because it's a convenience.
Right.
What's wrong with veterans? Any veteran, and any veteran that's listening right now, I'm gonna tell you right now, ask. Because the very blanket of freedom that you provide for people to do what they do in this country today, you provided your own blanket to be able to say, do you offer military discount? You
Thank
know,
you.
for
Thank
the
you.
longest time, people didn't want to. People, veterans, it's weird. I don't always ask. I really don't.
I
But I'll
forget.
tell you
I'm
what
not
I
gonna
do
lie.
ask the most is when I'm spending the most money a year doing something. Now, I'm not gonna lie. I mean, 10% is 10%. It compounds. But it's more for the fact of if we don't do it as veterans, then how can we tell other
We're gonna
veterans to
lose it
do it?
though. We're gonna lose it if we don't.
Oh,
That's the
oh,
thing.
if
If you don't
correct,
use that benefit, you're gonna lose it. You
correct,
know what I
and
mean?
and
It's kind of like
you know,
going on leave. you use it or lose it. You know what I mean?
Right. Right.
And that's going to go
I
away
totally
if
agree.
people don't start using that benefit. That's going to go away. So
Yeah.
take that opportunity. You earned it.
Yeah. And
Use it.
and that's one of the things that's, going back to Gunner's Choice. You offer anything that you offer that military discount. It's already built into your prices. Am I not correct?
Yeah, yeah. If you're a veteran, first responder, law enforcement, right off the bat, it's a 10% right off the bat.
Right. Yeah. And I
No
think,
questions asked.
yeah, and I think that, what I really like about Gunner's Choice and what you're doing and what you're going to do with it in the future is, um, there's not a lot of places that weapon wise give military discounts. There's not. Now, shooting range, yeah, you get a discount for you and whoever, your spouse or whoever is with you, to go
Mm-hmm.
shoot, right? Ammo, no sir. They don't ammo, and at almost $1 a round, you know. But do you complain about it? No. Do a lot of veterans think that it's not worth your time? Yes. But um, just like every other uh, benefit that's out there for other types of situations for people and what have you not,
Mm-hmm.
you have every right to ask, do you offer a military discount? And
Amen.
you do, and it's not a selfish thing. I don't think it's a selfish thing.
No, no.
But in
Like
today's
like I
society
like I
too.
told that lady, the recruiting office is right down the street.
Hmm.
You can get that discount too. Go do what I did. You can get the same thing.
Yeah, and I think on this podcast, I want to make I think we should make people aware of, we're not stuck up people, but we are going to defend those that may not feel
Amen.
worth it to defend your rights or what have you not, a weapon. I bought this. I'm 40. I'll be 46 in January, and this is the first time I've owned a weapon. First time, and for the longest time, jujitsu was my form of self defense. Enjoy the art, keeps it moving.
Mm-hmm.
It's the original form of Bushido samurai. Um, and I never thought that I needed a weapon until things started kicking off again. And then the way that the masses were around here, you might want to reach out and touch somebody before you actually have to use your hands, because I don't have any long weapons on me. So I don't have any bows or staffs or anything on me, or we
Mm-hmm.
can carry swords around, but we don't, because who does that? Um, so yeah, the castle law,
He
you
said,
might want to
he said,
engage in
"Who
that
does that?"
because, yeah, I mean, I would, but I'm not going to spend $6,000 on a true nagamaki that we use in the art. You know what I mean? So I think
No,
that's
I
one of
bet
the
you rather
things
buy a
that
Glock.
I think that's one of the cool things about the podcast when we talk about it is it's going to be the you know defending the right to be able to do that. You know what I mean? So if anybody's
Yeah.
out there
Well,
watching
it's
this,
defending their rights to do a lot of things. You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
I'm hoping that we can get into more like bringing people into interview,
mm-hmm,
um, people from other military, what's the word I'm looking for, other
backgrounds,
military circles, I
backgrounds,
guess you could
yeah,
say, different
yeah,
backgrounds. Okay. Different veteran owned company owners, things like that,
yeah,
and just sit down and talk with them, because I know for a fact, I know because I've talked to people about
sure,
this very thing. Okay. But you and I aren't the only veterans that want to start a business. Other
mm-hmm,
veterans want to start businesses. You know, they need to hear how things are done, who they
yeah,
talk to, what did they do.
right,
And we could possibly learn some things too. So it's a plus plus for everybody. You know what I mean?
absolutely, and
So
and
it'll be a definite advantage.
and in the show down the time, I'm really looking forward to some of those guests to step in and
Right
actually give
on.
another perspective of what they're doing. Especially my teammate, Landon. When we
Hmm.
talk about racing, I had the opportunity to announce at the track, and kind of like this, Chris, wonderful guy, Chris Workman. And he asked me specifically, about being teammates and stuff like that. So I think it's going to be kind of cool, and to get Landon on and actually talk about I'm 46, he's 24. And we're
Right on.
racing. Our cars are parked next to each other in the shop. So it's that's going to be another cool thing about this because Bubba, he was a Marine,
Hmm.
so yeah, I'm really looking forward to a lot of the stuff that we got coming up, to include events. When we start holding our
Absolutely.
events, especially when now, didn't you say that there's some gun shows that you were going to try to
Yeah.
you
First of
know
the year, what I'm going to do first of the year, we had discussed this the other day. When we had our little powwow. Um, what I want to do is I want to put together an event calendar. Okay. For gunners, and also we talked about we wanted to do one for
hmm
gearheads and guardians as well. But
right
what I want to do when I get it set up for gunners, what I want to do is I want to be able to publish that, so that way, if there's somebody that might want to just come by and shoot the poo, or hey, I'm looking for a part for my Gen 3 Glock 19, and I can't find exactly what I'm looking for. What do you have, or whatever,
right
or
right
if they want to come by and check out the Strikeman system that I'm selling now that I am so totally in love with.
right
But I want to be able to put that out so people can say, hey, we're going to go here, we're going to go there. Also want to get that on their on the Gearheads calendar, but I also want to put events that you're doing with your charity on there,
hmm
and make that happen as well. And I'm not sure if I told you or not, but um, oh, what's it called? I just had it on the tip of my tongue. I can't remember. Anyway, I'll let you know later when I remember the name of it. But
Sure, because we're going to do cars and coffee. I think that's something that
that's
another thing,
exactly what I'm
because
talking about.
you
Stuff
know
like that.
my girlfriend and I are one, hot rodding is one of the things that we really want to, like, um
Sure.
get into. But
Dive into.
we do the cars and coffee. We take the race car out, and so when we go to cars and coffee, we can actually tell people, hey, come see us. Eventually, we'll get some swag. Actually, I think you can are you going to put the merch link down in the YouTube,
Yeah, I
in
can
the
do
link in
that.
there?
I can do that. Yep,
So
I can do that.
yeah, so any of the events that we have, we'll post them here, so that people can come see us. And we're going to try different things too. Chuck, I think the live podcast. Well, I say live. We're live now, but I'm saying, like, where we go out and either we're playing
Oh,
with the
at the
Strikeman,
events.
or yeah, we go out to
Yeah,
events and we actually are, you know, potting live. That's going to be
sure.
something that we are going to find out if it's a little venture that's
Feasible.
going to work or not.
Yeah, yeah. Maybe put a GoPro
Excuse
in
me.
the old race car.
Oh yeah, yeah. And it's funny you say that. I didn't have enough time. We went to Corpus 2 weekends ago, and we were really excited. Jennifer and I were really excited to finally go out there, and we broke a rocker shaft. And I didn't turn
Ugh.
I didn't turn the camera on because I wasn't there wasn't really any going thing to do. But what I like to do sometime, and it's something that you and I might talk about, is we do a podcast from the track, and then we actually try to see if we can
That'd be
live
awesome.
feed some in-car camera, up into the show. So I
Oh,
think
way
that I
cool.
think that'd be pretty
Right
cool.
on.
Hmm
Right on. Right on. We could do like a late night show or something like that
Yeah,
from the
yeah,
racetrack. That'd be cool. That'd be cool.
yeah,
So if you're watching that, put down there in the comments what you think about that idea. I think it'd be awesome personally. I think it's
yeah.
really cool. Or go to the range or shooting at the range or something like that would be
Yeah,
cool. You know,
yeah, yeah. Anybody that
I'm
has
not
any
for sure what
ideas, or
the Facebook or not Facebook, but YouTube rules. I'm not for
mm,
sure what the rules are on like firearm stuff. Like I know I see other channels going out there and shooting stuff, and
yeah,
I'm like, okay, well we should be able to do that, but you know how I am too. I'd
safe than
rather be
sorry.
right
Yeah,
than and then ask for
yeah,
permission. Oh, I'm so sorry.
yeah.
So I just want to make sure we're right on that aspect because I don't want to get nobody upset or step on nobody's toes or anything like that. So I really want to do it the right way. But I think it would be
Sure.
really fun to go out and do some range stuff or the race. I think the racetrack would be really exciting. Actually, I think it'd be
Yeah,
really cool.
I think I think it'd be really fun. Especially when what would be really cool is Jennifer and I, we've gone to the range a couple of times. We need to get out there a little bit more.
Mhm.
But uh,
Well, now that you have a strikeman, you can go anytime you want from your comfort of your own home.
correct. And so I think what'd be really cool is to figure out how we can do maybe talk about the strikeman, because I'm going to have it set up here, and we can
Right
talk
on.
about the strikeman. But um, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it, especially talking about the different stuff of for the Glocks. Racing. We can give
That's just exciting, though, man. Racing's just
it's
fun. You know,
it's
I
an
love racing. I've
expensive
always been into
excitement.
that.
Yeah. It would really that has been one of the ultimate things is having the support, obviously, supporting support from friends, and but when you have a significant other, my girlfriend has been very supportive of it from day one. Wasn't so
Hmm.
cool that I got wrecked on the first time she ever been to a race, but um it's been very cool to have that push to know that it's okay to go and do this. But with her enthusiasm, Landon, my teammate, his dad, they're all about it. His family. So we have a very big racing family. It's small, it's small there in the shop, but our love for it's very, very big. So
It's
look
a
for some
huge
good
heart.
things
Yeah,
for
amen.
2024. Exactly.
Amen. I can't wait to see it, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be
I
fun.
can't wait for the season to start. Now, when is your
Yeah.
first race coming up for the year? I mean,
April
what planning?
April 9th. So, um, on the racing side of the house, our season starts April 9th. Now, before being in the late model class, they didn't have us but once a month at the tracks, right? And we kind
Hmm.
of jumped around to a couple different tracks. There is a series down here in the winter series, but I-37 where we race at will be a full schedule for us. They've did away with the
Oh,
go
awesome.
karts. Probably I think having to do with maybe car count for the go karts or what have you not.
Right.
But the track promoter and his son and a couple of his coworkers have late models. So they decided, because he promotes the track, um, we're going to have a full schedule next year. 13 races starting April 9th. But that's not going to be the only thing for us. My girlfriend and I have decided that we are going to make, and I say regular very loosely, but we are going to make a few visits to my second home there in Las Cruces, there at Vado Speedway,
Hmm.
to race with the late models out there a couple of times. We'll go into that later on. A lot of family down there and a lot of racing
They got
family
a
down
nice
there.
track down there too. Long
Man,
straightaway.
man, Vado Speedway is it's the Knoxville of the Southwest. I will tell you that.
Nice.
And as small as many tracks that are going away, Royal
Hmm.
Jones has done a phenomenal job out there with combining El Paso Speedway Park and Southern New Mexico Speedway into Vado. Beautiful
Hmm.
facility, $8 million. They're putting in a go kart track now, and they've putting car
How
washes in.
cool.
So if you for a multiple day show, you can go wash your car there and have it ready. It's really really
What?
great. Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming up.
Wow.
So good stuff for you guys that
I might have
we'll
to
be
go
able
to
to talk
Las
racing.
Cruces one of these times.
Yeah, yeah, it's really fun. My girlfriend's addicted to it. She's like, "Man, can we find a job out here and live out here?" I'm like, I don't know. you know, uh, we'd have to find what we do out there. That is in the middle of the desert. so,
Yeah.
but yeah,
Yeah.
so good times coming
Super
up.
cool, man. Super cool. I can't wait, man. Can't wait.
Yeah,
But
I was going to ask you, like, can when you if you start doing gun shows, do they have can you do podcasts from gun shows, or is it kind of more of we'll
I
do a
don't
vlog?
know. That's something. I
Yeah,
think that's something that I would have to ask the promoters for that and ask them. Is that cool to do?
yeah,
It. I don't see why it would be a problem personally,
yeah,
but that's something I can definitely. Matter of fact, I'm going to make that a note too.
yeah. Very cool. Yeah,
Yes,
I
I
think
write
that's something.
everything down.
Yeah, I think it'd be something
I write
that'd be really
everything.
cool. And if there's anybody watching, if there happens to be anybody watching, or in the future, leave in the comments of any other ideas where you'd like to see Gearheads and Guardians. If you're doing a function, or if you got something of your own
We'll
that
come.
that you would like to have us come out, can do a vlog, or we can do a little podcast at your event or what have you not, let us know. Leave it in the comments.
Yeah, most definitely. If there's, especially now, you got to remember now we're in South Texas,
Yeah.
San Antonio area, that vicinity of San Antonio,
Yep.
and if you have an event that you'd like for us to come by and talk or whatever, most definitely drop us a dime somewhere. You can also go to Gearheads in Guardians at gmail.com. You drop us an email there. You can also shoot one to my business email, gunner6 at gunnerswag.com. And I'm not sure what you had Dirt Team. Is it Dirt Team 1X, right?
Yeah. Or hesslermotorsports at gmail.com.
There you go. There you go. So if you have any questions, or you want us to talk about a certain topic, or you want us to come by one of your events in the area, by all means, drop us a dime. We'll definitely get back in touch with you as fast as you can. And like I know on my personal email, my business email, I'm always on my phone constantly checking emails, because I'm getting emails from distributors, I'm getting emails from customers. So I'm constantly, trust me, it won't go unnoticed. So
yes, exactly.
most definitely get in touch with us. So,
exactly.
but it is 8:36. We only wanted to do this for an hour. Looks like we went like way over.
Yeah, we went way over it.
So
yeah, this is gonna be fun, man.
It's all
I'm
good
looking
though.
forward to this.
It's gonna be fun, and we look forward to hearing from everybody. This is gonna try to be every Wednesday thing. Every Wednesday at 7:00. Tune in, click that subscribe button down there, okay? And I will have a better background thing going on here very soon as well. But I used to have a YouTube channel before that had all my fish, and that's everything behind me is all fish. So, sorry about that. And so yeah, every Wednesday, 7:00. Tune in. You come and holler at myself or Nitro, or AKA Drew. Ask him about racing questions. You can ask me about any of the gun questions. If you're a veteran and you have any questions about the charities that he does, by all means, drop a dime on that too. I also do a charity. It's the Guardian Group, and what they do is they and I don't talk about it a whole lot, but what they do is it's preventing human trafficking. Because I know even the I-10 corridor that goes, from South Texas all the way up, there's a lot of human trafficking going on there, and it's, unfortunately it's children, and it's women, and they're getting thrown into, we'll just call it bad situations that they don't want to be in, and nobody should be in.
Right.
Okay. So that's what the Guardian Group does. They do a lot of prevention for that. And, and every time somebody buys a product from me, 5% right off the top of the profit goes straight to them right off the bat. I don't even see it. Automatically.
Yeah, that's really cool that you do that, and that is a big deal, and that's
it's a huge deal.
It's and for guys like us, that's a big reason why the Second Amendment, and why we, do what we do with concealed carry, and making sure that our firearms are top notch, because you never know when you're going to run in that situation, and you're the one that has to, make that decision.
Train. That's why we got great handgun parts to upgrade your gun, to make your gun a better shooting gun. Not that Glock's a bad gun, but that's just like when you buy that Ford F-150 or that Dodge Ram or that new Chevy pickup. What's the first thing you want to do? I want to put some new rims on that, put some big old tires on it, lift that thing up with a big old lift kit and some cool lights up under there. It's the same thing. Okay. You got a nice truck, why not have a nice Glock to go with it?
Exactly. Exactly.
That's what we do at Gunners. That's what we do at Gunners. We take, how should I put it? We take ordinary and make it extraordinary.
Make it extraordinary. Yeah.
That's what we do. That's what
Yep.
we do. So if there's services that you're looking for, I can either do those services or I can point you in the direction to somebody that does it way, way better. Because I'll be honest with you, if I can't do something, I will send you to the person that I know for a fact, hands
That can
down,
do it.
110% will get you squared away. And if I
Yep.
don't have an answer for you, I will find it and I will get back to you.
Sure.
So send those questions. Send those
Yep.
questions.
Yep.
So that being said, brother, is there anything you just want to add to that?
No, I'm looking forward to this, man. This is gonna be a lot of fun. We
It's going to be a lot of fun.
it's
It
going to
really is.
evolve. We're obviously going to do, we're going to look back and always improve on it. But
Amen.
uncut and
Amen.
raw. That's how we are.
Right on, right on. Crawl, walk, and then run, baby.
And then run.
Then
That's
after
right.
that, look out. Look out.
Then we're in trouble.
It's sprinting then. But anyways, everybody, I hope y'all enjoyed the show. And again, questions, send them. If there's a charity you're looking for, we gave you 2 good ones right here that are, I mean, just amazing, amazing charities. You can help kids and ladies, or you can help veterans that need help, or both.
Mhm.
You can't go wrong with it, that's for sure. And if you're ever looking for a good time and you're down in the South Texas area, go check out I-37 Raceway for a night of total excitement. I never been to a flat track race or a dirt track race until I've been here. Now I've done flat track races because I'm a big motorcycle guy. Love motorcycles, sure. But until I came to South Texas, that was the first time that I ever seen cars race on dirt. Now I seen bikes, left and right, Peoria TTs in Illinois, all that, and I came down here and seen those races with Drew, and I was like, man, I'm hooked. That's all I can say. Hooked.
It's
I mean, when you feel that car go by and you can just feel the ground shake from the horsepower and that rumble, man, it's just like, okay, I'm sold.
Yeah,
So,
we'll have, one
down.
of these sessions. We'll talk racing in the sense, and
Sweet.
it's a different world. Mm-hmm.
Amen. Well, we look forward to seeing everybody back here again. That being said, just remember your troops, guys. Remember your troops, because trust me, you're always on their mind when they're deployed. You're always on their mind. Believe me, you are. Okay. They deserve your love, your trust, your help in any way, shape, or form. So that being said, guys, God bless you. You have a wonderful evening. Drew, take care of yourself, brother.
Have a good night. We'll see you. We'll see you next week.
All right, guys. God bless you. Wednesday, 7:00. Be there.
Peace.